Whee!
Hey guys, it's the Drooling Potato here, and I'm bringing you my deck profile for Extra Deck True Draco. I got third place at locals last night, and this was the first time I played the deck, and I hadn't really done a bunch of testing, so there's a couple of thoughts I have about the deck that I'll share with you, and enjoy. So to start out, he had 3 Ignis Heat. I think he's the best True Draco monster we have that's unlimited. And including for the little True Draco guys, we have 2 Majesty Maiden and 1 Dynamite Knight. This deck is probably going to be a lot more consistent than when we had no Dynamite and 1 Ignis. Because with this, you can gain a lot more resources that you can use with 1 Dynamite and 3 Ignis. Because this puts 3 more resources. You have 3 more monsters that can put good resources in your hand and or field. And bringing out Return and then being able to special summon a guy and tribute summon on your opponent's turn is just really good. And then for the next, we have 2 Amano Iwado. I don't know how I feel about this. When I saw it, it was good half the time, but the other half, the best thing I could do with it was pop it off a diagram and search something. So this might be a card to cut for Extra Deck. And then finally, we had 1 Draco Combatant. The theory with this card is we didn't want to summon it, but we wanted to draw it and either pop it off a diagram or discard it with a Nightmare card, and then we just bring it back with Return every turn. And the times I did that, it was very good. But there was one time where I was not prepared, and I made Draco Combatant against Trickstars, and I did not have a good target to float from the Extra Deck into. So that's something you definitely want to be prepared for, is to float into the Extra Deck. Even if you don't plan on summoning him, the situation might arise, and you want to be prepared, which is something I learned. So that's all the monsters. Now going on to spells. 3 Terraforming, 3 Draconic Diagram, Standard. Then for True Draco spells, we have Triple Heritage, Triple Draco Phoenix. You all know what these do. If not, you can check the wiki because I'm not the best person to explain it. Next we have Triple Card of Demise. This is another card that I thought was going to be a lot better than it was, because we special summon more with this deck, and there were times where I wanted hand traps, and I actually sided these out for hand traps once. I mean, it's a really good card, and drawing 3 and going +2 is really good, but it's just one of those cards that I might cut it to 2. Because there were times where I opened multiples, and it hurt a lot more than when you were playing the True Draco stun. Next we have 2 Pot of Duality and 2 Pot of Desires. Pretty standard. And then we have 1 Stormforth. We cut the 3rd Duality to space, because we're at 43, and that's pretty big already. So now, moving on to the reason that Demise wasn't as good, we ran Triple Scapegoat. This card was the MVP of the night. It won me about 3 games, because in phase, I'd flip it, and I could either link off into Nightmare stuff, or I could summon out Borreload and just be extremely oppressive. And the next card that hurts Demise is Triple Sky Striker Mecha Hornet Drones. This card was also extremely good, and I will show you a small combo that this card can do with Diagram. It just makes it absolutely ridiculous. I was not prepared in the Extra Deck for how much I wanted to use this card. I had 1 Kagari in the Extra Deck, and that was it. And I, multiple times, about 3 or 4 games out of the 5 matches I played, I wanted a second Kagari and maybe even a Shizuku. So I could not get my hands on Engages, but if you could get your hands on Engage, I'd play 1 or 2 Engage as well, just because maxing out drawing Hornet Drones, oddly enough, is better than drawing Engage in this, because you can end phase with Shizuku search for Engage. So I just run 1 or 2 Engage, Yes, this was very good. I think this is so much better than the True Draco stun with no extra deck, because being able to go into your extra deck and get to nightmare cards and get to utility cards is extremely good. Now on to traps. We run 3 Draco Apocalypse, 1 True King's Return. It's pretty standard. We'd run more Return if we could. Then we have the 4 Floodgates, triple anti-spell, and 1 Skill Drain. Skill Drain's another card that I feel like is better in the True Draco stun version, but not necessarily in this deck. I'd cut Skill Drain because we're at 43 cards, and I might actually cut an anti-spell. I might cut Skill Drain and anti-spell for a different Floodgate and run 4 Floodgates and run 2 and 2, but anti-spell was really good tonight because I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get bothered by Brandish at all, and I definitely did not. It definitely stopped decks that were not better, but it didn't let them play at all, which is what the heart of playing True Draco is. Now, on to the extra deck. So here is the 1 Kagari I was talking about. I definitely would play 2 of these and maybe 1 Shizuku, because I'll show you later, but there's just ridiculous stuff you can do with Hornet Drones and Diagram. And then we have Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger played with Volcasaurus. I'd play Durandal as well, the Artifact Durandal. I couldn't get my hands on it. I'd play it if you could, because right now the extra deck is very flexible because there's not a lot of things you want to bring out. But these were the main 3 cards we went into off of non-scapegoat stuff. And then for scapegoat, we have the Borreload package, 1 Link Spider, 1 Link Karibo, 1 Proxy Dragon, 1 Borreload. I'm sure you all know the combo, link into Link Spider, Proxy Dragon, Link Karibo, and then bring out Borreload with all of them. And then for Nightmares, we run 1 Phoenix, 1 Goblin, 1 Unicorn, and 1 Cerberus. You don't have to run Goblin, but he's a good Cherries target. And then for more Cherries targets, we run Firewall, Dragon Buster, Double Helix, and Toad. You can probably cut Double Helix for something else when you have Firewall in here, but I didn't have anything else. So if I was going to cut stuff, I'd probably cut Helix and Goblin to put in Durandal and a second Kagari, and that's the extra deck. And now moving on to the side deck, we have triple Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. Now, every time I drew this card, I won the game. This is just such a good card, this format. If I take this to regional and not locals, where I expect to see higher tiered decks, I would definitely main deck 2 of these, even if I ran Demise. Because this is just such a blowout card. Especially if you get 2. If you can resolve 2 Cherries against Brandish, you basically win. If they can't go into Kagari or Shizuku, and they run out, they are just hobbled. They may have 1 Kagari and 1 Shizuku at most to bring back with Hercules base, but still, just limiting them to 1 is still extremely good. And then we have Sided Floodgates, Imperial Iron Wall. I didn't get to use it, but if I played against Invoked, it would be very good. Red Reboot. Don't play this card. These are supposed to be Waking the Dragons. This deck can't OTK, so we don't want to run Red Reboot because we don't want to give the trap decks more advantage. Then we ran 2 Twin Twisters. It's a good card against Draco and back row heavy decks, but I didn't get to play any of those. Dark Hole and Raigeki. Still just general good cards to side. I didn't feel like I needed them. And then we ran 1 Judgment and 1 Warning. So that's the deck. Let's move into that combo I've been talking about. So this interaction is the main reason that I want to run Shizuku. You can do just dumb stuff with this. So we start out with Diagram, Hornet Jones, and just any true Draco monster. You don't necessarily need this because you can search it off a Diagram, but just having a piece, another true Draco card, either spell, monster, or trap, is good, but you don't need it. So what you can do is you can activate Diagram, and then go Diagram Effect, Chain Hornet Drones. So you special summon out Hornet Drones, and then since Diagram doesn't target on activation, you can pop any card on the field, and Hornet Drones does not leave the field until the entire chain resolves. So you can pop Hornet Drones with Diagram, get your search. So let's just add, let's look for it, Heritage. So we have Heritage and Ignis Heat, and then we're fine. Then the chain resolves and Hornet Drones is already destroyed. Then we link into Kagari, add back Hornet Drone, go into activate Hornet Drone again, summon another token, and now here you can activate Heritage, tribute Kagari, and you have this with just your normal summon without using any of your True Draco stuff. If you had another monster in hand, you could link this into Shizuku, and then use Heritage to tribute this, and you'd have 2 guys on board, plus your Heritage draw, if you can get that. And it just generates a lot of advantage, because it can get 2 monsters on board without your normal summon. And that's just really good with this deck, because this deck wants advantage, and that's the main way it wins, is just by out-advantaging your opponent. So that's the combo. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. If you didn't like the video, comment why you didn't like the video. See you next time. I'm working on a big video. That's why it took me so long to post something, because I've been working on it for about a week. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Whee!